Ladies and gentlemen, in this video I'm going to show you how to unlock and complete all 71 rare quests that are currently available in the game. For those of you that don't know already, rare quests are the blue ones that appear in your inventory after you make a certain amount of progression towards them. And you heard me correctly, there are 71 of them. Shout out to Hypex and Not Officer for the images, this video wouldn't have been possible without them. Let's begin. Collect animal bones and collect meat. I'm not going to go through all of the numbers because you can find them on the screen and in the video description as well. And keep in mind that some of the images may be incorrect as this is all based upon leaks. When you eliminate chicken, boars or wolves, they will drop a certain amount of animal bones and also pieces of meat. Simply start collecting that and it will start to progress towards this challenge. Collect bars may seem like a grind, but most of the characters, the NPC ones, they give you about 120 to 200 bars for every quest that you complete. The only thing that you need to keep in mind is that whenever your bars are full, so I think 10,000 is the max, you cannot pick up anything else. So at that point, either start purchasing exotic items, upgrade your own weapons or purchase items, because if you stop at 10k and just hold that, you will not make any more progress towards this challenge. The next four are pretty self-explanatory. Collect green, blue, purple and gold XP coins. The numbers on these images seem incorrect. It's saying that you need to collect 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 XP coins. And I guess this makes sense for the gold ones, but usually you get about 4 green ones every week. So I think that this image will need to be updated. I'm not sure when exactly we'll get the XP coins. Last season they only started at week 7, but I'm hoping that tomorrow on Thursday they will start to give us 10 XP coins per week. Feel free to keep an eye on my channel as I post guides for them every single time that they're available. Complete bounties might be a little bit more difficult, it depends on your skill level, but when you activate a bounty and someone else eliminates your bounty, then it will still count towards your progress, so that's a good thing. Then we have complete uncommon, common, rare, epic and legendary quests. Common quests are the green ones and you get 3 of them every day when the timer resets, and then once you complete all 3 of them, they turn into uncommon quests, which are the grey ones, and you can just keep completing those indefinitely until you get a new cycle of green ones the next day. Rare quests are the blue ones, and those are the ones that this entire video is about. You will not see them in your overview until you make a certain amount of progress, and then you can continue to track them. I know this is highly inconvenient, but it is what it is. Epic quests are the weekly challenges and the style challenges. For example, you can unlock different variants for Agent Jones' outfit, for which you have to investigate detected anomalies. And then every single week you'll get 7 epic quests that you can complete. So those are the purple ones, and then the last one, the legendary or gold ones, you will only get 1 of those every week. And they have 5 stages, and then once you complete that, you have to wait until the next week. Also keep in mind that when you don't complete it, it will not stay there forever. It only stays for a week and then it just moves on to the next one. Craft weapons is probably something you'll unlock while just playing the game. In order to craft a weapon, you need a makeshift weapon. This can either be a makeshift shotgun, revolver, SMG or rifle. And then you will need mechanical parts in order to craft it into a mechanical weapon, or you need animal bones in order to craft it into a primal weapon. Then there's consume apples, bananas, mushrooms and foraged items. I'll make sure to upload separate videos for the challenges of which I have a really good location or just are a bit more difficult to complete. For example, this one you can just do within half an hour if you go to Cathy Corner, destroy all of the vegetable boxes that you can find there, and then just consume all of it. Deal damage from above is something you probably don't even have to pay attention to. If you really want to grind this, then just go into Team Rumble, build yourself a nice little stair, and then wait for opponents to pass you and either snipe them or hit them with a rifle. It should be very easy to complete. The same thing goes for damaged opponents. If you want to do this fast, then definitely play Team Rumble. It also really helps to upgrade your weapons to a higher rarity, because the higher rarity they are, the more damage you deal per shot. Last season you could also do this by shooting at the IO guards, but I don't think you can do it by shooting at the wildlife this season. Damage the vehicles with a player inside. I think that this is one of the more annoying ones, and personally I'm not gonna go grind for it. If I'm playing Team Rumble or squads and I see a car pass me, then obviously I'm gonna open up fire. But if you're gonna go into a match with the intention of shooting at someone that is either driving a vehicle or a boat, you're gonna have a bad time, so I would strongly advise against that. Assist teammates with eliminations is very easy to complete if you often play with friends, but if you mostly play solo and you still want to do this, then either play squads with fill enabled or go into Team Rumble and enable fill. Just shoot at every single opponent that you see, but make sure not to eliminate them, and then eventually someone else will make sure to hit that final bullet and you'll get progression towards this challenge. Eliminations from 150 meters or more is the one that I absolutely despise and will not be doing. I play a lot of Team Rumble, and every single time that I make a snipe from over 150 meters away, my opponent ends up having shield and then just survives the hit. And I'm like, really? Did I go to all that trouble for nothing? I think that an alternative way to do this is by playing duos, trios, or squads by yourself, and then shooting down an opponent, throwing them somewhere where their teammates cannot revive them, and then just making sure that you're over 150 meters away. And by the time that they bleed out, it should count towards this challenge. Eliminations with common or uncommon weapons is pretty self-explanatory. I recommend using the primal shotgun or maybe even the revolver. They deal a lot of damage, and even when they're of green or gray rarity, you can still easily eliminate your opponents. Eliminations while driving or riding a boat might be a little bit tricky. I would advise only completing the first 3 levels of this one, because having to do it 50 times or even 150 times is just a lot. A relatively easy way to do this is by going into a match of Team Rumble, finding yourself a nice AR, then find yourself a boat and drive it to a location where you can just easily switch to a passenger seat and start shooting at people with your AR. That should count towards this challenge. Players eliminated is something that you'll get while playing the game, and if you really want to grind this, then definitely go into Team Rumble, because depending on your skill level, it should be possible to get around 10 to 15 eliminations every single match. Headshot eliminations might be a little bit more difficult, but this can easily be done by finding yourself a nice sniper rifle, and then also playing Team Rumble, but searching for opponents that are standing still, are also sniping at other players, and just try to pick them off one by one. Make sure that you actually aim above their head, because there's a bit of bullet drop depending on the distance. Eliminations with explosives, assault rifles, pistols, shotguns and SMGs is something that you'll get while playing. I wouldn't bother grinding for them except for maybe eliminations with explosives, but in this season it's relatively easy to get a rocket launcher. You can either get them from the special chests, or you can purchase them from an NPC, get them from a supply drop, plenty of ways. And then if you get them from a supply drop, the best game mode to do this in is Team Rumble, since obviously you don't want to die immediately when you pick up the rocket launcher. Bow eliminations might be a little bit more difficult, but I would say that getting the first 3 stages, 3, 10 and 25 eliminations, should be very doable. Keep in mind that usually it's relatively easy to upgrade your bows, and if you make a headshot, they should deal about 125 to 150 damage, which will eliminate most of your opponents. Harpoon elimination seems a lot easier, and maybe I'm a little bit biased in this because the harpoon gun is one of my favorite weapons. But when you get quite a lot of them, you can easily start to spam them at your opponents, and if you land at the building in Craggy Cliffs that is just filled with fishing barrels, you should be able to find at least 2 or 3 of them. I am not completely sure what they mean with sticky eliminations, and I've also not seen a weapon come by that sticks to your opponent. The only thing that I know of is the new cuttlefish. It looks like an octopus, and when you throw that towards an opponent or onto a wall, it sticks on there, and then when you shoot it again, it'll explode. So maybe that's what they mean with this. Melee eliminations is another one of those challenges of which I'm like, this is not worth the stress and time that it's going to consume. But if you would really like to complete this, then I recommend going into duos, trios or squads by yourself, finding any opponent, knocking them down and then finishing them off with your pickaxe. That counted in the previous season, so I'm assuming that it will count in this one as well. And an alternative way to do this is by landing at an opponent at the beginning of the match before any of you picks up a weapon. If they're trying to go into a building or opening a chest, then trap them and just hit them 5 times and they should be eliminated. Searching chests and ammo boxes is again something that you'll get while playing the game, but if you really want to grind this, then Team Rumble is definitely your best option, because in the other game modes, the chests and ammo boxes, they don't have a 100% spawn rate, and that's going to make your life very difficult. Upgrading weapons can be done by finding specific NPCs that you have to give gold bars and then they will upgrade your weapon for you. And unfortunately, it's not possible to do this while crafting. You cannot increase the rarity that way. Then we have used bandages and medkits. I definitely recommend going for the bandages because it's just a lot faster, and usually you get a stack of 5 instead of having to use one single medkit. I think that there's also a specific NPC available that sells you bandages. I believe it's Remedy. But when you buy those from her, try to find yourself a campfire, take a bit of damage and just start using them. It's a relatively easy one to complete. Then there's use shield potions, and for the last stage you have to use a total of 1,000 of them. At first I read this and I was like, oh, that's a lot, but then I considered that usually in an average match of playing squads, I consume about 8 or 10 mini shields, especially during the end game, so this probably won't even take as long as I'm thinking right now. Use campfires is the one that didn't work for me last season. I'm hoping that they fixed it. I haven't used enough campfires to figure that out, but if you drop at Weeping Woods and just make your way around it, I think there's about 5 or 6 campfires that you can ignite, which will allow you to complete this challenge in no time. Then there's distance traveled on foot, while gliding, while swimming, and in a vehicle. The first one you'll get while just playing the game. There's a very easy method to complete distance traveled while gliding. You want to play a match of Team Rumble, and then when you're on spawn island, wait until it says 3 or 4 seconds left before the battle boss leaves. Then build yourself a ramp and redeploy your glider. If you make sure that you're gliding before the battle boss leaves, then it will count the distance that's between spawn island and the actual island. You can also use this same trick for distance traveled while swimming, and this you can just do in any game mode. For distance traveled in a car, I recommend getting a whiplash, refuel it to 100%, and then just follow the main roads across the island. Catch fish and fish at fishing holes go really well together, and my favorite spots to complete these two are either at Lazy Lake or at the Unremarkable Shack where the NPC Splode is located. It's also easy to do this in Team Rumble. You want to stay in the zone and then get yourself a harpoon gun, and whenever you get eliminated, just respawn and make sure you have 1 shot left. And by the time that you land, you should have 10 shots again, and you can just use this on any fishing spot that's near you. The next 3 are all related to animals. The first one is lure creatures. I have no clue what to do for that one. I thought that it was grabbing a piece of meat and throwing it near a wolf or a boar, and they would just, start to approach the meat, and that would count as luring them. But unfortunately, that didn't trigger anything. If there's anyone that knows how to do this one, please leave it in the comments down below. Taming wildlife is easily done by getting yourself a hunter's cloak, which you can craft yourself by using a piece of meat and some animal bones. And then once you activate the cloak, it'll stay active for about 20 seconds. Just make sure to walk close to an animal, interact with it in order to tame it, and it will count towards your progression for this challenge. And then there's hunt wildlife, which is the most violent one. Whenever you see chickens, boars, wolves or frogs on the map, make sure to eliminate them, and you should have this one done in no time. Ignite opponents can be a little bit tricky. The thing that really worked out for me is getting a lot of firefly jars and then waiting until the zone enters Weeping Woods. If you throw those jars at the surrounding trees, then they will also set the ground on fire, and then any opponent that's walking there will be ignited and start to take damage. Alternatively, you can also knock down an opponent and then throw a firefly jar at them. This will also make sure to ignite them. For ignite structures on fire, I would also recommend going to Weeping Woods. Find yourself a firefly jar and then just throw it at either one of the big buildings. Literally that entire thing is made of wood. So once the first one ignites, then it will set the surrounding trees, the grass, and then also the other building on fire. And this will complete your challenge in no time. Melee damage to player structures is something that you can do in any game mode, and since pretty much every lobby is filled with sweats nowadays, it shouldn't be that difficult to find a large structure and just making your way through that with a pickaxe. Harvest Stone works best in Team Rumble simply because you get way more materials than you would get in any other game mode. Hit weak points is something that you'll get while playing the game. If you're having difficulty doing this in a consecutive manner, just make sure to leave a little bit of time in between the hits with your pickaxe. For sofas, beds, and chairs destroyed with a pickaxe, there used to be a really good spot last season, which was the Butter Barn, but for now I recommend going to the area where Logjam Woodworks used to be, and then entering the restaurant which is there. There are so many chairs, and if you just start breaking them, you should be able to complete this challenge in no time. Destroy shrubs, trees, and stone seems easy enough. The only one you might struggle with is the shrubs. Those are not the bushes that you can find surrounding holly hedges and that are sitting in the middle of the road. They're actually the tiny little plants that usually come with those bushes. So if you're going to grind this one, make sure to look for tiny plants on the map. And once you hit 25 of them, you'll unlock the first stage for this challenge. Again, I will make separate videos for challenges like this, the ones that are a bit more difficult to spot or that there's just a really good location for. For reboot teammates, I definitely recommend playing with friends instead of randoms, because usually when I'm playing with randoms, whenever one of them goes down and you pick up their card, they end up leaving the match before you actually get the chance to reboot them. So if you're playing with your friends, you can also ask them to go down and just reboot them that way. Reviving teammates can be done in pretty much any game mode. Usually when I'm playing Phil and one of my teammates goes down, they stay in the match until they're actually eliminated. So if you're quick enough, you can get them up and continue with the rest of the match. For refuel vehicles, I recommend going to Lazy Lake. Usually there's about 5 or 6 different vehicles there. If there's no one else around because the battle boss started at a different direction, grab a vehicle, go to the gas station, give it a little bit of fuel. I'm not sure if you actually need to fill it up to 100%, that's not being mentioned in the challenge, but this one shouldn't be a problem. Then there's Dawn Creature Disguises. Some of the NPCs on the map give you an option to disguise and become a prop. And I'm assuming that that's what they mean with this challenge, because there's no phone booth on the map that you can enter and then become a henchman or something. So for now, that's the only way that I see to complete this one. Place top 10 can be easily done by playing matches of Team Rumble. Since there are only 2 teams, it should be relatively easy to place within top 10. Shaking down opponents can be done at pretty much any point of the map. Just make sure to build some walls surrounding you so that you don't get sniped by any of their teammates that are coming to save them. Spend gold bars. That's a pretty fun challenge. You can purchase exotic weapons, normal weapons, get items from NPCs, and even let some of them create a rift for you so that you can glide across the map. And then, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for challenge number 71, which is also the final one, and for this one you need to thank the bus driver. Before jumping from the battle bus, make sure to press the button which you also press to open up your emote screen, and it will thank the bus driver for you. Should be easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's gonna be it for this video, you guys. If there are any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and you can use code PERFECTSCORE in the item shop if you want to support me further. I will see you guys at the next one. Peace!